So normally you see now the first slide of our webinar. Now, what is on the agenda for today? Really quickly, so why should you recruit on Facebook and Instagram? That's why we're here, of course. What should you pay attention to when preparing? Because there needs to be, there is a technical setup before you can actually start in Facebook Ads Manager with your campaigns. How do you set up a campaign and how do you measure the results? Because of course, we're talking about paid advertisement, you have a media budget for it, and you want the best results for the amount you pay for it. Now, what is not on the agenda? Free organic recruiting on social media, we're not going to discuss today. Data-driven recruitment and analysis, we're also not going to discuss today. We have another webinar that we already gave about that topic. You can find it on our website. And then what is also not on the agenda, what is a great working ad? That's also a webinar that we are going to give in the future. So please keep an eye on our socials so you're ahead of all the new stuff that is coming about recruiting on Facebook and Instagram. Now, why should you believe us? Well, we provide qualified candidates. We focus on passive candidates through very targeted advertisements on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And of course, it is done in a user-friendly process. We developed a software so that every recruiter can set up a recruitment campaign on Facebook and Instagram. And we have a little surprise at the end of our webinar, so please stay till the end so you receive that surprise. Now, we've done over 6,000 recruitment campaigns. Here you can find some of our clients, enterprises and SMEs as well. But let's start with the webinar. Now, first of all, Facebook is a platform and it has several placements beneath it. So when we talk about Facebook, it's not only Facebook, it's also Instagram, Messenger, and Audience Network. Audience Network is a network of applications and websites that has advertisement of Facebook as well. So please keep in mind that these 4 platforms all include in the Facebook Ads Manager. Now, why should you recruit on Facebook? Well, 20% of the job seekers is actively looking for a job. And they're looking at Google, Vacaturegroep, LinkedIn, etc., and also other job boards. But 80% of the working population isn't actively looking for a job. And you have to convince them where they are every single day and where are they every single day on social media. On average, a person scrolls 160 meters a day on Facebook and Instagram. So it's your job to pop out with your vacancy to actually convince them for your job. All right. Now, there are some basics that you need to get right before you can start with actually making campaigns in Facebook Ads Manager. First of all, you need to think about your funnel. What is a funnel? It's actually a visualization of all the steps that an applicant is taking. So you have, first of all, the recruitment funnel. And the recruitment funnel, first of all, you have an application. A person sends their CV to you. Then you have the selection process. And then, of course, well, hopefully you come to a hire. So this is a recruitment funnel. And before that, you have the marketing funnel. Now, the marketing funnel can be divided in several steps as well. The discover phase is really generic. You don't show your vacancy yet, but you can show your brand. You can show some articles about if you search for someone in construction, then you can show them an article about construction. Then let me see. Yeah. Then in the engage phase, you go a bit more specific, like, are you in for a new opportunity? Are you looking for a new job? And then in the attract phase, you really show the vacancy with the specific job title, with your company and the region, of course, where he is going to work. So the funnel is important to see because you have different steps. And you have to know where you have to optimize, because if you send lots of traffic to your website, but nobody applies, that's something that you really want to know. and that you can visualize by a funnel. To make it a bit more specific, here you have an example of the marketing funnel. So in the discover phase, we showed an advertisement of working in construction. It's really, really general. It's to define your audience. Then in the engage phase, we already talked about career opportunity. Here it says boost your career. And then in the attract phase, we really showed the vacancy. Here, for example, we searched for a site manager. So this is an example of all the different phases that you can do to build audiences, to target your right audience that you want to reach with your specific vacancy. All right, I hope everything's clear. If not, please don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat to interrupt me. I'm happy to answer them immediately.
Maybe, Steph, just to wake everybody up and hopefully then also get a bit of questions. Let me just open my camera here. I'm going to launch a poll on the right-hand side. You'll see a poll, and the question will be whether already you have published a paid recruitment campaign on Facebook. So you have a bit of understanding of the group in the call, how many of you have actually already spent money to recruit people. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you will see that poll popping up, and you'll be able to kind of vote yes or no, whether you have already published a campaign. Let's just have a look at about, let's see, okay, the numbers are running up. About 90%, 90, have not yet done that.
Okay.
So you're exactly the right audience. And there's 8% or 15% of people who have done though. But I'm sure we also have some tips and tricks for you to make that work even better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And again, as also on the right-hand screen, because that's why I'm here, there's a question tab. Ask questions, whatever questions you have. We have a good mix of audience. So if you think your question is going to be too basic, don't be afraid. There's a lot of newbies on the call. So ask any question you would have, or even detailed questions, because that can also help people. So go ahead with the questions.
All right. Now, like I already told you, there are a lot of things that you need to prepare before you can actually start with your recruitment campaign in Facebook Ads Manager. Facebook Ads Manager is a platform where you set up your campaign, of course. Now, first of all, you have to define your target audience. Before you go into Facebook Ads Manager, I would recommend to think about your audience before you go into Facebook Ads Manager. So, for example, think about, okay, where does he have to live? What are his interests? Where is he active? Is he on Facebook, on Instagram, etc., etc., before you actually go into the audience setup in Facebook Ads Manager. Now, you can, the location, you have to think about that. You can actually, in Facebook Ads Manager, you can define a location with a radius of 1 kilometer. Now, 1 kilometer, I wouldn't recommend because, of course, some people want to work really close to home, but we recommend 20 kilometers. You will find your candidate, you will find your hire. But more than 20 kilometers will be a bit too long for him. He doesn't want to be the whole time in the car to get to his job. Then the second one you need to define, well, you can define, is interests. Facebook has more than 1 million interests, behaviors, and demographics, which you can select in your setup of your campaign. Now, this is not only the interests or the page likes or the pages that they like on Facebook itself, but also their behavior on the whole internet. So Facebook has lots of data, has lots of data about people, and Facebook knows really everything about you. It's a bit scary sometimes. And then the third thing, and this is the most important one, is the data that you already have. Facebook will look over your Facebook ad account, will look over the campaigns that you already done in the past, will look how well they performed. And also if you have, for example, an audience about account managers and you have a new vacancy, also account manager, then you can use that data for your new vacancy. So this is really, really important. We at Simple, we've run over more than 6,000 campaigns. We have lots of data, and this is also the advantage. If you work with us, then you can use our data, which we gathered throughout the several years.
Sorry, if I can just interrupt. There's a question from Anastasia saying that she has a negative experience with sponsored Facebook ads. How different is your platform? Just to say, yes, we have a platform, but everything we talk about now is applicable to also campaigns you will be running yourself with Business Manager.
Yeah.
So what we're showing here is not necessarily done something you need our platform for. We'll talk about it at the end, but all the learnings, all the tips and tricks here, you can also do when you're just managing business, the ads yourself through Business Manager. Just want to clarify that. And yes, we have positive experience. For us, Facebook is working very well to recruit people. Okay, so just want to kind of clarify that question.
All right. So once you've defined your target audience, then you of course have to create your ads, and you can find some inspiration on career pages, but also on Facebook Ads Library. Facebook Ads Library is a platform where you can search for companies, and then you will see their running ads, which are live. This is a really nice tool. I will go maybe live really quickly. So here you can find, it's just an URL, Facebook Ads Library, and here you can search for a company. I don't know if there's a company in the audience that you want me to search for, then we can see their running ads. You can put them in the chat if you want. If not,
nobody here yet giving any names.
Okay, I will just, invent one myself. So, for example, Neuhaus, we're based in Belgium, so we really love chocolate. Let me just see. So here you can see that they are running some advertisements. Here you see a picture, here you see a video. You see where the ads are placed. So you have Facebook, Instagram, and Audience Network. They're not publishing anything on Messenger. Here they are. They are doing it. So you can see all their active ads when they started running. You can see their copy, you can see their visuals, and it will give you maybe some inspiration for your advertisement that you are creating. Now, what is really important is that you are not competing against other companies of your company, but you are competing to the audience that another company wants to reach. So if you're, for example, if your target audience is account managers, then, and if another company is also searching for account managers, then you're competing against each other. And this is really important, that you're not competing to the competitor of your company itself. This is important to keep in mind when you're running Facebook ads. So normally you can see now the slides again. Yes, all right. Then once you have some inspiration, of course, you have to build your attractive ads. Now, we have lots of learnings from the years that we've run advertising on Facebook and Instagram, and I want to share with you some of our tips and tricks. First of all, use authentic pictures. This is really, really important. I mean, you can search for stock images on the internet, but these aren't authentic. People want to see in which team they will come, where they will have to work, how does the office look like. So you don't have to hire a professional photographer. You can just take pictures with your smartphone easily, because if you scroll to Facebook and Instagram yourself, you see pictures of your friends, and you want to pop out with your advertisement, but you don't want to make it like a really nice TV commercial. It's really a different kind of advertisement that you show on Facebook and Instagram. Second of all, uniform communication. What do I mean by that? That if you, we recommend that you put your logo of your company, of your brand on the advertisement. And if you do so, then maybe you can also use these branding colors of your logo as well for the job title. we always work with wanted and then the job function underneath it. Now, what is also important for your performance of your campaign, Facebook doesn't only look at your advertisement, but he will also look, he or she or it, I don't know how to refer to Facebook, but anyways, he or she will also look at the performance, the customer behavior on your website. So if you use a picture in your advertisement, make sure to use the same picture also on your vacancy page on your website so that it's uniform communication. And then the third one, you can find lots of Facebook best practices online. But what we recommend is that if you find, well, you can find some best practices and some inspiration, but please test it every time again. Because what we see, if Facebook recommends, for example, to use videos instead of pictures, well, we test both. Sometimes the video works better and sometimes the picture works better. So the best practices can give you inspiration, but we recommend to test it before taking conclusions. Now, let's do a little poll about Legerstock. So we received 2 pictures of Legerstock. Legerstock was a client of us and he was looking for a sales consultant. We received 2 pictures, we put them both live, we did an A/B test. An A/B test is actually an experiment where you only test one thing, one variable. So the copy is the same, the function type is the same, the call to action is the same, but only the picture is different. I'm wondering what you think that had the best performance.
Yeah, so the poll is launched, and again, you see that on the right hand of your screen. So you should be able to kind of click on what you think is the best working ad, and oh, it's a clear race for now. So 80%, oh, it's 70%. Well, let's say most of the people think the ad on the left scored best.
Okay, well, we thought that actually the ad on the right scored best.
We should have checked with our webinar audience.
Yeah.
Let's not do A/B testing anymore. Let's just help the people in the webinar.
Now, the results were that the one on the left actually worked better because we had more applications and the cost per application was cheaper than the one on the right. So this actually concludes that if you have to test something because well, actually your opinion, it matters, of course, but with an A/B test, you can easily and quickly see which ads works best. In this case, it was the left one. So the audience was actually right. Now, these are the dimensions of the visuals that you need to provide for your advertisement. Facebook makes it more easy every year because before you had different sizes for Instagram, different sizes for Facebook, audience network, and now it's actually really easy. So you see the pixels over here, the dimensions and the aspect ratios as well for if you want to launch a video. But for now, the newsfeed and stories is a different image because for stories, you want, of course, to take up your whole mobile. It's vertical. And the picture on Facebook and Instagram will be a square. So this is also important to keep in mind because it will actually influence your performance as well. Okay, here you have some examples of videos which we did for our clients. You see that they take up the whole smartphone because if people are scrolling on their smartphone, you want to pop out, you want to take the whole screen to attract them with your vacancy ad. And also with video, the first 3 seconds are the most important one because you want them to stop scrolling, you want to pop out with your advertisements. Okay, now, how do you set up a campaign in Facebook Ads Manager? Well, a campaign has different components, and the first one is the campaign. So in the campaign section, you have to define your objective. If you want lots of clicks to your vacancy, then you're going to use traffic because you want as much as traffic to your vacancy. But if you want to have the most applications of it, you want to reach, you want to select the objective conversion. Now, it is important to tell to Facebook what is a conversion for you. When does an application has found place? Now, I will later on tell you a bit more about the Facebook Pixel, but it is important to know that you have several objectives and you need to choose only one in the campaign section. Then underneath the campaigns, you have your ad set section, and you have to define your audience, like I already told you, the region, the interests. Are you going to use a custom audience or a lookalike audience, etc.? And then the second thing is you have to choose your channels. Like I already said, there are lots of placement. You have Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, but also stories, also search, also feed, and you have to select them there. What we recommend is that you do A/B tests as well for the platforms, because, for example, someone in construction will be maybe more on Facebook, but then someone in sales will be more on Instagram. I'm inventing now, but you have to A/B test also the channels. And then last thing that you have to set up in the ad set level is, of course, your budget. You can choose for a lifetime budget or a daily budget. And you can also choose to set up a cost cap. For example, if you have a maximum that you want that your application will cost, you can set it all up in the ad set level here. So, and then underneath the ad set level is your advertisement itself. This is the copy, the visuals. Are you going to use a picture, a carousel, a video? These are all the things that you can upload in the ads level. And this is actually the thing that your audience will see. So these are the three campaign components: campaign, ad sets, and ads. And I want to point out that it's not a one-on-one relationship. So you can have one campaign with several ad sets because, of course, you want to test different channels, you want to test different audiences, and then you can have underneath different ads as well. You want to test maybe different copy, you want to test different pictures, maybe also a video. So it's not a one-on-one relation here. All right. Now, I'm not going to go to Ads Manager in this webinar. I'm not going to go live, but we will do in a couple of weeks a practical workshop where we will show you how to set all things up in Ads Manager itself. All right, now what defines the cost of your advertisement? Because you pay for it and you know why you pay for it and what defines the cost. Well, the first thing is the bidding. It is a bidding platform and you're bidding against the competitors of your audience. It is important to set up a cost cap so you're not spending €1,000 in one day. And it is also important, like I already said, it is against your the competition of your audience and not from your company. That is also an advantage because you don't have to be a big company to be successful on Facebook. Then second of all, the estimated action rates. This is a bit of a black box because Facebook gives you, well, he will look at the performance of your page. He will look at the performance of your campaigns. He will look, for example, how long does it take till you respond to a question in Messenger. And these are all estimated action rates. You don't know if you have a good score on that or not. But this is also something that Facebook will keep in mind about the amount you're going to pay. And then the third one, and this is also an important one, is the user value. The value that you give to a user, because Facebook wants to make sure that the user experience on his platforms is good. But of course, he also has space. You have space on Facebook to buy advertisement, but you need to have a balance between really showing that it's an advertisement and giving value to the user, to your audience. So these three things you have to keep in mind also with setting up your advertisement. Now, how do you know how much money you have to spend on Facebook? Well, at Simple, we actually made a formula. It's called the FFF, the Financial Facebook Formula. And you have to think about 3 things. Now, how many applicants do you need for that specific job vacancy to get a hire? That's one thing. Second thing, what is a conversion that you think you will have on your vacancy page? Now, what is a conversion? The conversion rate, you can see it here on the slide. For example, if you have 1,250 visitors on your vacancy page and you have 50 applications of them, then you have a conversion rate of 4%. 4% is really, really high, and it's a good conversion rate. But you have to keep in mind that all these applications are also qualitative, because if you have applications that are off target, then you don't want to have a conversion rate of 4%, but maybe a bit less and more qualitative conversion rates. And then the third one is, what is a conversion of your Facebook ad? If you have nice pictures, if you have a strong brand, if you have a good target audience, which you can define in Facebook Ads Manager, then you are going to have a good conversion rate on Facebook. So these 3 things you have to think about. And then our financial Facebook formula will calculate how much budget you need for your campaign. I don't know if we want to go live, or I don't know if we have time to go live.
Let's quickly do that. Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Let me then just quickly share my screen.
Yes.
So you can have a well-deserved break, a bit of rest. So you can see my screen now. This is basically, let me show you, I have it open here. This is how it works. So the 3 parameters, how many applicants you're looking for, your expected conversion, and your expected on the vacancy, and your expected conversion on Facebook. You just add it here. We give you some pointers of what we think would be good or bad, so 0.5 if it's these parameters, and then you can just basically add a number here, right? And then at the bottom, what we'll calculate is based on cost per mil, so the cost for publication. We can actually show you what would be a best case, total budget, the middle case, and the worst case. And you can see obviously that there's a big spread here. That also means that that obviously doesn't mean you will be spending that kind of money. But to the point that was made earlier, some people have some bad experience. Of course, if your rates are all on the low side here, that will probably mean that you have not a good working campaign. But then again, if you notice this after 1 week, 2 weeks, if you tweak it, if you make changes, it doesn't go better, you can always stop it, and you can always cap your cost. Okay, so that's, I'll put a link to this tool in the chat.
Yes.
Back to you, Steph.
All right, I'm going to share my screen again and set up the slides again. Okay, so normally you see my slides again. Yes, all right. So that's about the budget. Now, it is important to measure every data point. Oh, let me just see that I'm not sharing. Yeah. Oh. Okay, sorry. Share screen.
You have to share that screen.
Yes.
This is what happens when we do an intermezzo, when we switch between
laptops. It's always technical. All right. Now, once you've set up all your campaigns, it is important to know how you have to measure your campaigns, because data is king, and Facebook wants to have lots of data as well, so he can optimize your campaign in the best way. Now, what you need is you have to install the Facebook Pixel. And I'm just curious in the audience, maybe Mark, you can launch a poll about who has already installed the Facebook Pixel on their website.
Okay, I just need to do a little technical refresh here.
All right.
To launch that poll. Okay, 1 second. Okay. And so, okay, the poll is published again on the right-hand side. And let's have a look at the results. All right, so the minority, probably not completely surprising, but 8% has installed it,
Mhm.
and then half people who haven't installed it, and also a lot of people who haven't have even heard of the Facebook Pixel.
Okay.
So it's good maybe to kind of explain that very quickly.
Yes. So the Facebook Pixel is actually a piece of code that you have to install on your website so that Facebook can measure every data point that your visitor is making. It is totally GDPR approved, but of course you need to mention it in your privacy policy on your website. Now, how you have to install it, I'm not going to go into detail on this webinar, but we've written a white paper about data-driven recruitment, and there you can easily find how do you have to install the Facebook Pixel. I would recommend to have a look at it because it is important to install this before you can actually run Facebook campaigns. Now, why should you install it? Well, first of all, retargeting. If there's, like I already said, the conversion rate, if there are visitors on your website, but they didn't apply, then you can actually retarget them with your advertisement again. Because, I mean, people are scrolling on Facebook and Instagram, they see an advertisement, they are interested in the vacancy, but maybe they think, oh, I'm not going to apply today. But then you have to remind them so that you're always top of mind with them to apply when they have the time for it. Then second thing that is important is you have to track conversions. Like I already said, you have to tell Facebook when a conversion has taken place. We at Simple, we have a chatbot, an interactive chatbot where we ask questions to the candidates, and then once they finish, they land on a thank you page, and on the thank you page, the Facebook Pixel is fired so that Facebook knows, okay, there is an application that has taken place, and so you can optimize. Facebook can optimize in the best way for your campaign. And then the third one, and this is also a really important one, once you've installed your Facebook Pixel on your website, you can build audiences. And this is really powerful of Facebook because once you've defined a good audience for your vacancy, you can make lookalike audiences. And these are similar audiences to your custom audience, to your audience that you're defined, but it will broaden your target audience. So the Facebook Pixel is really, really powerful, but you have to install it in the correct way, in the right way, so that Facebook can measure, of course, in the most effective and in the best way for your campaigns. Now, beside the Facebook Pixel, there are some other useful tools to install. And one of them is Google Analytics. Google Analytics is also a piece of code that you have to install on your website, and it will measure the behavior of every person on your website. Well, not individually, you don't know the names of the people, but you will see in Google Analytics which pages they visited, how long did they stay, on which elements they clicked. So it is a really, really powerful tool next to the Facebook Pixel. And then second, you have Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is actually an easy way for non-developers to set up different pixels, different events to push to Facebook again. And then Google Data Studio, we were a fan of it before we had our software. It's all free, by the way, these three tools. And Google Data Studio is actually a platform where you can build dashboards, where you can customize dashboards yourself with all the data of the Facebook Pixel and Google Analytics, etc. So make sure to install all these things correctly and to have a look at them before you actually set up your campaign.
Okay, Steph, maybe if I could just interrupt you. There's a question from Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that, Anastasia. And the question is, sorry, if a company's HR brand is low, is it possible to run a successful campaign at all?
Yes, definitely. You don't have to have a strong brand to run performing campaigns because it all depends on how good your advertisement is. So the pictures that you use, the copy that you write, the audience that you define, the placements that you target with your audience. So it's not only your brand. It's actually not your brand. It's all the things that you show to the user. Facebook will look at the user value that you give to their people. Okay, so I hope that is a question, answer.
Well, if I can just interrupt, or not interrupt, if I can just add to that, maybe is that what we've noticed is that we have some small companies, and if you're attracting passive candidates, basically that means you're talking to people doing a similar job at another company. If you have strong arguments that you can use to convince those people to come to your or at least to click on your vacancies, those work very well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really that question of thinking about what's in it for the candidate. Why would he have to click? What could you offer that he doesn't have? And sometimes that could be, look, we offer 2 weeks of training every year, right? Or if it's a more technical function, you can tell, look, people can drive the company van home, so they don't need to have their own car. So think about, the little things that make your company different, that make the job different, that make the vacancy interesting, and try to put those in a campaign. And if you have good arguments, it actually doesn't really matter how strong your brand is.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it very practical and pragmatic for the user to click.
Yeah. All right. Is there another question?
No, that's basically just Raki telling us he has to run off, but he's very happy with the content. So thanks, Raki.
Okay. All right. Now, I know it's a lot, and if you dive into Facebook Ads Manager, you will see lots of data. And you have to have some marketing experience as well. But what we did is we built a software where every HR professional can set up their own recruitment campaigns without having marketing know-how. 93% of our users don't have any marketing experience, but they still manage to set up their recruitment campaign. Mark will show you really quickly.
So I just have a technical issue here.
No worries.
So, no, we're going to send you the link. Sorry,
okay.
I can't do it now. Let's just explain what the software does.
Okay. All right. So what our software does is, if you run a campaign, we will set up the audience, and we will use our data for your vacancy. We have a lot of data collected during the years, and our software will automatically A/B test everything. So the pictures that you upload, the audiences we will define, the platforms. So you will actually know which campaign, which advertisement worked best. But it is all done automatically by our software. And the simple algorithm will optimize automatically the best performing campaign, so that your budget is well spent. You will see dashboards with real-time information. You will see how much money each ad will spend, which one is working best, and of course you have full clarity on everything. If you see that, okay, we have now lots of influx on our vacancy, we have lots of applications, then you can maybe just stop the campaign immediately if you want to.
Okay, I fixed that. Sorry, there was a connection with a problem with Livestorm.
Okay.
I fixed that so I can quickly show this. So basically, how it looks in our software is you can, on one hand, we will just help you to make your ad. So here you're able to kind of put the text. Let's just assume you're working for Central Perk. You're looking for barista. You can just put the company name, the vacancy name here. You can then upload a nice image that you might want to share. To convince them, let's do this here. And obviously, you want to add your fancy logo also. Let's add your logo of your company. And then basically, our software will automatically make an ad. It will put a wanted banner on there. And then once you go further, we will also help you, let me show that here, with every step of the way. So how do you put on how do you target the right audience? I'll just there's a very clear checklist on the things you have to do. You can set up your landing page. Oops, sorry. Problem is that I have too many things happening there. You can set up your landing page and then put some nice pictures there. But also for the targeting, for instance, you can select what kind of vacancy, what kind of person you're looking for, and it will start using the data we have gathered to set up your campaign. All right, so sorry for the delay in that.
No
There you
worries.
go.
Okay. So Mark will share a link in the chat because, well, that's a little surprise we have for you. You can try our software for free. For 14 days, you can set up campaigns, you can set up your vacancy, you can set up the chatbot, and take a look at our software. Well, yeah, you can have a look at our software. Now,
there you go. So that link is launched.
Okay. I don't know if you still have some more questions about what we discussed today. You can still ask them in the chat.
So there's a chat. There's a question from Rosemary. Does your software support other languages? It sure does. So at the moment we are ready for obviously Dutch, French, German, and English. So both the chatbot, the software, everything else works in that. We're talking about the languages which are used for asking questions to candidates. But if your language wouldn't be in there and you really want to do the trial, let us know. And we'll try and kind of bump up the translation needs if necessary. But the four languages I mentioned, so Dutch, French, English, German, they are live already. And you could start with that now.
All right.
And I think that was the questions we still had. Let's quick. Yeah, nothing in the chat.
Okay.
Maybe another 10 seconds for people who were inspired by the previous questions.
All right.
No. All right.
If you still have some more questions about the Facebook pixel, about Google Analytics, about advertisement, what is working best, etc., you can always send us an email or write a message to us on LinkedIn. Please follow our simple LinkedIn page as well, because we're doing lots of webinars. We've written lots of white papers about this topic. So if you're interested, you can always download them over there. All right, so thanks for watching and listening to us. I hope it was a bit interesting, and maybe we'll see you again in our next webinar.
Okay.